In this video, we're going to be looking at some sample questions and answers for part 1 of the IELTS speaking test. The topic of questions we're looking at in this video is swimming. Now, this might not be a topic that you've really thought about before, but remember, in part 1 of the IELTS speaking test, the examiner is trying to surprise you a little with some kind of topic maybe that you haven't thought about much before, just so they can test your real speaking skills. All I'll do is firstly go through the 4 questions, then we'll look at the answers, and one by one we'll kind of analyse why they're good answers for part 1 of the IELTS speaking test. Just quickly, before we get started, if you do find this video useful, then don't forget to give it a like. And also, if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel so you can see similar videos in the future. So let's get on with it. Let's look at these 4 questions on the topic of swimming. Now, these questions are taken from one of the Cambridge books, which have sample tests in them. And we got 4 questions here on swimming. First one is, did you learn to swim when you were a child? So clearly a question focused on the past there. And then we've got another question that says, how often do you go swimming? So a bit different there, a how often question, and it's focused on, well, the present tenses. And then the third question is, what places are there for swimming where you live? So again, focused on the present, but what places? We've got to explain the places that there are for swimming where you live. And then the final question is, do you think it would be more enjoyable to go swimming outdoors or at an indoor pool? Of course, this is a do you question, but it's a do you question that gives you an option between 2 things. And there's certain ways of kind of focusing your answer for these types of question. So now we've looked at those 4 questions, let's have a look at some answers to those questions. And these answers we're looking at here are kind of answers that a native speaker of English would give, and very appropriate for the style of answer they're looking for in part 1 of the speaking test. So let's go back to that first question. Did you learn to swim when you were a child? Yes, I did learn how to swim when I was a child. I remember taking swimming classes when I was around 4 or 5 years old. There we go. Just a short, simple answer there to a short, simple question. Now you can see it's just 2 sentences. This is often the advice I give to students is when we answer questions in part 1, try to just use 2 clear sentences. We start off by giving a nice, clear, direct answer. It's a did you question. So I answer, yes, I did, focusing on the grammar of the question, but being nice and direct there. Yes. And then, of course, kind of copy parts of the question there. Yes, I did learn how to swim when I was a child. Now, we're not changing much there. We're adding the word how, maybe, just to show that we can adapt the question slightly. But of course, to swim when I was a child, kind of the same. I'm just changing you to I and were to was. There's nothing majorly difficult there, but we're bringing focus to our answer. And of course, you could stop your answer there, but it's probably not enough to show the examiner a bit more skill. We can see here we've got the second sentence that does that. I remember taking swimming classes. Nothing too complex here, but of course I remember. Now I'm remembering, it's the present. So we're showing a bit of range of grammar there. And again, we're showing good collocation with class and the verb take, to take a class. Now here, of course, it's swimming classes. And then I just mentioned the specific age when I was around 4 or 5 years old. So nothing too complex there. Of course, I was, right? Because we're referring to the past there. So it's a nice mixture of tenses and focused on that question that we've got there. All right, let's move on to the second question and look at the answer for that. How often do you go swimming now? I try to go swimming at least 2 or 3 times a week. It's something I try to do as often as possible. Okay, there we go. So again, you can see it's that 2-sentence answer. Nothing too complex, quite simple sentences really there. But of course, the first sentence is a nice direct answer. How often do you go swimming now? Well, I try. We're using the present tenses because it's about now. I tried to go swimming. I've copied that vocabulary from the question there. It's okay to do that to keep your fluency. But then we're giving a specific answer for how often. At least 2 or 3 times a week. So maybe more if we're saying the phrase at least. But being nice and clear there and direct, again, it's possible to stop there, but maybe we don't want to. We want to add a bit more detail. So look at the next sentence here. It's something I try to do as often as possible. It's just adding a bit more detail there. Of course, we're linking the sentences with the pronoun it, right? Of course, that is go swimming. It's something I try to do as often as possible, right? So as many times as I can. So nice clear answers here, just 2 sentences. Let's look at the next question and the sample answer to that. What places are there for swimming where you live? Near where I live, there's a leisure centre which has a nice pool to do a few lengths in. That's the only place I know of close to me, and it's quite good value for money. So there we go. I mean, looks a bit longer there than the other answers, but it's still just 2 sentences. We're just extending it a little bit. Now, of course, in the first sentence, we're giving a nice direct answer. What places are there for swimming where you live? Well, I give the place, right? A leisure centre. But I start by, copying the last part of the question there. Near where I live. Well, where I live comes from it, but I'm adding the adjective near. Near where I live, I'm combining there and is together, a good kind of feature of English pronunciation, which is good to practice. There's a leisure centre, which has a nice pool to do a few lengths in. So I'm just describing the pool where I swim. A nice pool, just a simple adjective there. And then I'm saying to do a few lengths in. I mean, a length, I think in American English, they would call this a lap of the pool. But when you swim from one end to the other end, that is a length in British English. Bit difficult with pronunciation there, but quite a good one to use to show off this pronunciation feature of consonant clusters. And then I explain a little bit more. Right? I give a second sentence. That's the only place I know of close to me. So here I'm just linking the sentence with the word that, right? It's a good way to link the sentence. That is referring to, well, the place, the leisure centre. That's the only place I know of close to me. So of course I've shown a bit of lexical resource here, or a wider range of vocabulary, because I've used the adjective close instead of repeating the word near. And I've added a bit more. And it, well, of course, again, the leisure centre, it's quite good value for money. So, of course, the price is not too expensive. Okay, so a nice clear answer there, showing a good high level of English for part 1 of the IELTS speaking test. Let's move on to the 4th and final question. Do you think it would be more enjoyable to go swimming outdoors or at an indoor pool? Personally, I think I enjoy swimming more in an indoor pool. It feels a bit cleaner, plus the weather is not really suitable for outdoor pools where I live. Okay, so there we go. Again, another 2-sentence answer there. Now, of course, we've kind of directly answered the question by kind of copying a bit of vocabulary from the question, but changing a few things as well there. Personally, I think, well, of course, it's asking me, do you think? Can't really answer this yes or no because it's giving 2 options here, right? So I've got to choose one of them. I think I enjoy swimming more in an indoor pool. So of course here, we've actually changed the form of the word in the question, enjoyable, and we've changed it to use it as a verb. I enjoy swimming more. Kind of same as saying, well, I find it more enjoyable in an indoor pool. So yes, I enjoy swimming more in an indoor pool. So of course, we're copying that phrase, an indoor pool, from the question. It's okay to do this, right? You'll see sometimes we're trying to paraphrase a little bit, but generally it's a good idea to focus on those words in the question and the grammar in the question so you can focus your answer well and answer nice and fluently, not take too long to give an answer in part 1. Then I explained a bit more in the second sentence though. It feels a bit cleaner. Now, of course, I'm comparing here because it's kind of what the question is asking me to do. So you'll kind of see a lot of these comparatives in this kind of answer. But nothing too complex, right? Remember, this is not part 3, it's only part 1. Plus, also, is the meaning of this word here. The weather is not really suitable, appropriate, it's not good weather for outdoor pools where I live. So there we go. Just explained in a little bit of detail in that second sentence. Now, I don't know, maybe you're thinking these answers are a little bit short, but it's perfect for part 1. Of course, we're going to be showing off the skill of speaking at length in maybe part 2 and part 3. Here, we're just trying to show off our fluency. Give nice, clear 2-sentence answers. 2 nice full sentences, though, right? You can't kind of answer with 1 or 2 word answers. That's not going to show much skill at all. But these answers are appropriate to the questions, and they're showing off quite a lot of pretty high level English here. I mean, this is the type of answers a native speaker would give, and thus, well, someone who would achieve a band 9 in the IELTS speaking test. So there we go. I hope those answers are quite useful for you, and you can adapt them to practice answering these questions yourself and gradually improve your answers to include some of these features that you can see in these 2-sentence answers that we've got here. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, then do remember to click the like button. And if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel so you'll see future videos on similar topics. There we go. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.